Hello, hello, thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. This is the podcast that we are all been waiting for. My reaction to the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse and also looking at the three white men who are on trial for killing or on trial for Ahmad Arbery's case because one of the dudes was not actually there. So we like to be fair in that regard to say they're on trial. Two of them have been accused of killing him, and we actually seen the video in the Ahmad Arbery's case that they basically shot and killed him. And now we want to talk about the two cases here on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Is that all right? Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe, family. Chat with us on the inside the chat room. Don't forget to hit the cash out. We're going to put that in the chat as well. How's everyone? Hoping everyone had a wonderful, or have this weekend, a wonderful day or weekend, I'd say. Thumbs up, cash out, like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments after today's commentary. Leave your comments. As you know, of course, ScrewTube has me on a real restrictive, content warning, where they're ready to pull the plug on my YouTube channel. And I don't even get that many viewers right now. I just started, my YouTube channel. And they're already after someone who just started, So we in the Black grassroots have to be very, 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 very aware of why they want to basically cancel certain people's channel. So that means that the Black media is doing good. We are changing the American ideology of racism and white supremacy. In other words, we as Black people need to define for ourselves what racism is. And we have to always challenge the white supremacist system by any means necessary. And so we have people who come up with ideas, of course, as far as relates to our struggle as Black people. But we got also white folks and other groups who are trying to undermine our existence. They're trying to undermine our struggle, our demands for reparations. They're trying to do all they can, okay? Because as you know, white supremacy, white people, their numbers are dwindling. They don't have no real support system besides, the Asians that they bring over here, or the Latinos, Hispanics, and of course they also using the Afghan, anybody other than Black folks. They're propping up the LGBT crap. They're feeding this foolishness and this garbage and this filth to our kids. And these are white, powerful men behind this stuff. So thank God for the Black media, because we have been very much staying on task and on code to what's going on. Okay. Chat now with me on the chat room there. Talk black to me. Talk black to me. Talk black to me. If you're in the chat room, talk black to me. Right? Okay. And people are asking, well, when are you going to bring back the phone line? Well, when we increase our viewership, we'll bring back the phone line. We just don't want the same people calling up all the time. So let's get the chat room off the wall, off the chain, or whatever you want to call it now. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. So, the Foolish American Politics book, doing well. Foolish American Politics, let's discuss the issues. And there is my book that we're basically praving. People say, well, you're hypocritical because you write books and then you got these films, short movies, and novels that you're doing. Um, let's talk about that for a minute before we get into our discussion today. I just so happen to be in the film business, right? Like anybody who basically, if they're with white power, I mean, black power, if they understand black power, if they understand black power, they understand that black power comes with economics. So there are certain types of black people who may be within black power, but they may have a grocery store or they may have a mom and pop store. It's just that that's what they're doing as far as relates to black power. I just so happens to be a black filmmaker or slash a black author and activist. You understand? So I have to, always not always be, serious about everything. There has to be some type of smile, some type of entertainment sometimes. But we still also have to get back to the importance of uplifting ourselves, the black community, and people who, as we know, that has suffered in this country, which is black folks. So don't ever think that the movement dies out just because we are having a time off where we're, making films or writing a novel, things of that nature. We're trying to just lure you in to purchase the stuff so that we could have a huge conglomerate where black people, could have a place to go and smile and talk and to just basically just feel good about something that they have built and create. Okay. All right. So, but yeah, my book, Foolish American Politics, Let's Discuss the Issues, is still available on Amazon, and you can purchase it also on all of the outlets. They even have an ebook, by the way, as well. Okay. An ebook is available. All right. That's, so the ebook, that's the reason why I'm not going through the same publisher. I don't know, I might, but the publishing company, basically, they were just rushing to get it out, the ebook. But I think that if you don't want to purchase the full version, just go ahead and at least get the ebook, because we talk about reparation in that book. So, excuse me, Ta-Nehisi Coates is not the first person, or he was never the first person to talk about reparations, or he wasn't the only one talking about reparations either. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. We're talking about today fake white supremacy. The trial of Kyle Rittenhouse has already started. They actually almost about to wrap up here, prosecution. And this dude is on trial for killing two people and injuring another person. And the judge in the case, as many of you know, he basically is trying to find every way he can to stifle the conviction. They even now talking about giving him a lower sentence. They're talking about trying to find ways. This judge in this case, the Kyle Rittenhouse case, is showing to you how there's a difference when white men are on trial versus black men. You see, when black men are on trial, it's very, very just straightforward. Here you go, nigga. You are guilty. You're guilty. You're guilty. And I'm going to give you 100 years in jail plus another 5 life sentences and another 125 days, nigga. And I wish I can give you more. And all right, so let's all of us go out and eat, right? That's how it happens when a black man is on trial. But when a white man is on trial, as you see in both the cases, we're going to get to the trial of the trial of Ahmad Arbery here in just a moment. But when you see white men on trial, let's take a look at the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Okay, Kyle Rittenhouse, he went down to Kenosha, and he basically was armed with a a rifle. He was underage. His drunk mom brought him down there, and he shot 3 people. Okay? And he shot 3 people, guys. And now they're trying to say, the judge in the case is trying to basically, he is trying to find how we're going to give him a lesser charge. You see, this only plays out when a white supremacist person is on trial, or when white people are on trial. Let's just look at it. When a white person is on trial, it's always, let me do this. Let's find some way to reduce the charges. Okay, let's find some way to, we know that if we can't convict them here, we can convict them there. And then did you hear the judge? The judge in the case was like, let's call them looters. You're like, seriously? So now we see that the judge is also playing the defense counsel, and he is telling the prosecutor, wait, whoa, now, whoa. Okay, we have a little white person here on trial, and don't you start to ask these questions that's going to make him look like he's guilty. You see, playing games when a white supremacist on trial. See, that's the problem with these little white supremacists. They like to go out and get in trouble. Like I said, I don't know if this guy's mom is this guy's mother. I think she's a single parent, I think. And what they're trying to, here's the thing. The ideal here is that the prosecutor is saying, listen, we want to ask you questions about this case. So they charged him here. And the judge is up there saying, wait a minute, whoa, you can't ask them that. wait a minute. He opened his defense counsel over what happened in the video. The judge is going, no, wait, let me go down here and see what you're talking about. Wait a minute. And even white folks are calling this judge out. He's a joke, man. He's like, wait. You can call those rioters. You can call them looters. You can call them niggers. You can call them every kind of crazy name that you think of. But our little white supremacist guy here on trial, let's be very courteous here. Not to mention that he is a defendant, by the way. So you see the judge basically helping the defense on trying to get a lower, or even trying to get this guy off the hook for killing these 2 people. Now, a lot of you talking about, this is white on white crime and we shouldn't be worried about. No. See, we don't got time for half-baked Negroes coming into the line. I've already got white supremacists on my chat line already. I don't need some old bootlicking Negroes in here. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe here. Talk black to me. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. We're going to read the articles because, see, the white media, they're out here. You see how the white media play games? They're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse broke down at trial. You understand? He broke down at trial. And no tears was coming out of his eyes. There was no tears. What are you talking about? He broke down in at trial. But the white supremacists, they like to teach their children that when you get caught, you basically got to start crying. You got to start, pretending like you're the victim. As white folks is on trial, they're always pretending like they're the victim, that they didn't do anything wrong, and let me slaw. You see the same thing remember the white police officer in Oklahoma when he was found guilty of raping all those black women down in Oklahoma, who Michelle Macklin is trying to get out of prison now. What's his name? That clown, Daniel Halfcloth. How you said this fool's name? He starred. You see what I'm saying? Because he told the women, he said, "Don't think nobody's gonna believe you." And then when somebody believed him, believed them rather, then he started crying and blah 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 blah. Now here's the thing: the judge in the case. See, this judge, he's on his last leg here. He represents the old white supremacist, dusty judges that ignore evidence. Like you see a lot of these white supremacist judges, they like to ignore evidence. They like to say, no, you can't use this. You can't put this at trial. But notice when a black man's on trial, hell, everything goes. Like when Bill Cosby was on trial, for instance, they were allowing all of these cases that from 20, 30 years happen. They start, the statutes of limitations was ran out. They promised Bill that they were not going to prosecute him, and they did anyway. You see, we're talking about how a black man is on trial versus a white man. Thumbs up, subscribe. And so here's the thing. This is good because what it continues to show black people, that you up here pretending like racism doesn't exist. You're staying in a white community, going and helping white folks build up their ecological system, basically trying to say, okay, well, let me go out here and date outside my race. Maybe perhaps it's going to be better. You're still going to experience racism and white supremacy. I don't care how much you think that the system is getting better. But when you're placing the system of white supremacy with the system of justice, as Nellie Fuller talked about, you're basically then saying to society that you want to be fair and equal no matter who the races are. But see, they try to undermine and white black folks out by talking this people of color, minorities and stuff like that, so that you don't, deal with the black issue. And they think that the younger black generation is going to basically fall for that, just like the old civil rights generation did. But no, let's get into this article, CNN. Now notice the so-called right, so-called left, basically they're back and forth, but even when they're protecting a white supremacist like Kyle Rittenhouse, they're all on code. The white media going around talking about, oh, Kyle Rittenhouse broke down at trial. Kyle, look at his tears. What do they say in this article here? What Kyle Rittenhouse's tears mean for America? Blah, 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 blah. And as you see, it says right here, what Kyle Rittenhouse's tears reveal about America. That's what it says. But the dude was not crying, man. Crocodile tears. You even got the old Boule Martin calling these crocodile tears. He wasn't crying. There was no tears. He was just upset that he got in trouble, and therefore now that he did something wrong, he's coming into court and then trying to basically do and play the game that white folks have always played when they get called or when they get in trouble. And then it also says that Rittenhouse attorney says he is in therapy for PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. Post-traumatic syndrome. I forget what the S stand for, but PTSD. They've came up with so many words, man. It's just hard to keep up with them. But basically, now that he's in therapy for PTSD, All these words that the whites at my YouTube scream now. He was underage. He legally he couldn't carry a rifle. We don't know how he got there. His drunk mother took him down there. And she basically should have also been arrested and charged too. And look at these crocodile tears. Yeah, you fake, you fake, you fake, you fake, you fake, you fake. No tears was coming out. You see, and this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to basically get him off, and the judge is also acting as the defense counsel. Let's read into it. And as you know, CNN and Fox News, they talk about the right and the left all the time, but here you go. They're both on code when they're defending this little small white supremacist. Look at him. They're both saying, what? Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse broke down in tears. Kyle Rittenhouse, what his tears mean for America. See, they played a game, and they think that we in the black media is not going to call it out. That's the reason why ScrewTube don't like our channels here in the black media. Okay, but let's talk about it. The judge in Kyle Rittenhouse trial is considering lesser charges. Here's what that means. The judge in the homicide trial of Kyle Rittenhouse met with attorneys Friday morning for a conference on jury instructions, telling Rittenhouse that presenting lesser offenses to the jury lowers the possibility of a second trial, but increases the risk of conviction. Now, notice, you see, they don't go through all of this stuff. And the judges, even the black judges that they hire, folks, do they meet with the attorneys and say, hey, let's try to talk about lesser charges here? They don't do this when black men are on trial. It's just, you niggers are guilty. You're going to get 30, 50, 60 years in jail for carrying this small little weed that you had on you. Folks, where do they do that? they don't talk about, they don't meet with the attorneys and talk about, let's consider lesser charges. You see, and then you want to talk about white privilege doesn't exist here? Give me a break, man. But this is our fair use policy here. I'm reading this. This is from CNN. I'm going to give them credit here for the article. And, we try to use our First Amendment rights, but as you know, ScrewTube don't care about your First Amendment rights. But the fair use policy also gives us a right to basically criticize and also analyze what any article is written for the public. And that's what we're doing here. So fair use here. ScrewTube, stop messing with our channel here. But it goes on to say here, because we are live, that prosecutors asked Kenosha County Circuit Judge Bruce Schroeder if he give the prosecutors and defense attorneys. The judge explained to Rittenhouse what that means. Now, before we get into that, remember that judge is on code. He is telling the prosecutor, look, in these courts, we don't go hard in on white people like that. You need to tone it down. You're trying to basically, now the prosecutor is doing his job. He is basically saying, listen, look what you're doing here. We see you here. You got this, you got this gun. Is that you? Hold on. You can't be talking and asking him questions like that. How dare you? You're not on code now. And remember, we don't put white folks in jail. When they do crimes, we either give them lesser charges. Now, you're out of line, prosecutor. That's what they're doing here. But let's go ahead and continue here. Let's go ahead and continue. It says here in quote, any of the ones we talked about, which are the lesser serious crimes carrying lesser potential sentences, if I allow those, then the jury, if they're unable to agree that you're guilty of the charges offense, will have the opportunity to consider whether you're guilty of the less serious offense and could return that as a verdict as an alternative to instead returning a verdict of not guilty, Schroeder said. Now, okay. Now, he didn't say this to the attorneys, of course, and brought them into it. Even if he brought them to the podium and said that and whispered that to them, that how did the news media get that? See, he's letting his white supremacist friends, after he take off the robe, after the judge take off the robe, he letting them know in the country club where I'm doing all I can to make sure that this little white supremacist get off. You see, that's what he is doing here. He letting his friends know that we're going to try to find, well, the white supremacists, they took a lot of L's last year. They're still upset that Derek Chauvin had to go to jail. So they can't be a force. See, look what is going on. We have 4 white men on trial, but not just 4 white men on trial. We also have white men and women who, during the Trump insurrection, is supposed to is also on trial. So we have white men on trial all across the country now, and they're trying to find ways that we can get them off because, again, we don't put white men in jail. That they have done this for years, and it's just the old civil rights generation has been cowardly to call them out. We're talking about this white supremacist fake crybaby babble. Let's continue here, though. Throughout Friday's conference, Schroeder indicates his position on including instructions for several of the lesser charges and told the attorneys he will give them his decision Saturday. Testimony in the trial of Rittenhouse, who on August 25th, 2020, shot and killed 2 men and wounded another during violent protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin, concluded Thursday. Now, see, these white men that he shot, they showed up for Jacob Blake's rally and protests. And Kyle Rittenhouse is like, look, I'm going to tell you 2 white men, y'all are on the wrong side. Y'all are off code. And y'all about to get on code. You see, you have to look at what's going on here. And this is good because it is showing how when white men are on trial, every kind of law that could get them off, and you start looking at laws that the white supremacist judges have never ever used before to get a lesser charge or even to strike some kind of, oh, this is discrimination, I'm going to strike the verdict of the jury.